It's June, it's summer, the sun is shining, it's beautifully warm, and look at my flower garden and the gorgeous cottage. It really does look amazing. We've got so many things on, and actually June is one of the months where things start to run away from us just a little bit. But come and join us and have a look at some of the things we've been doing.
Hello, welcome to English Country Life. Look, this is why you become a smallholder. This is why you go for self-sufficiency. There's a big yellow ball up in the sky whose name I've almost forgotten. There is chamomile smelling absolutely incredible. On that side of me, there are Jerusalem artichokes for our winter veg over there. The garlic's ready for lifting. The chickens have got baby chicks, and all is right with the world this month. But we've got massive to do. We are completely redesigning the veg area. You may notice all of this at the base of us. We're doing a massive infrastructural project just behind where you're standing to get ready for winter, to put in new winter quarters for the chickens. Obviously there's masses going on with growing and harvesting and preserving, and yet there's an update with all those chickens producing lots and lots more baby chickens. So stick around for the good times. I want to tell you that this is the big infrastructural change that we're doing this year. I want to tell you that, except we are changing the veg beds. We're putting a new currant cage. We're hedging over there. Oh, never mind. It's a big change that we're making this year. We've decided that flock down, the housing orders to do with avian influenza are going to come back regularly now. So we need a permanent solution. We built something in here that was kind of polytunnel hoops and bird netting and stuff, and it was fine for a temporary. But it really wasn't up to the standards that we want for a permanent structure. So we're going to put a permanent structure in roughly the same footprint, but it was horribly overgrown in here because it was never intended to have a structure in it. It was kind of a wooded area, etc. So we had to remove a whole bunch of trees, and oh my goodness, I am so pleased that we removed the willow that was over there, because when it was down on the ground we could see that all the heartwood had completely rotted out. It was hanging on the sapwood and was going to come down at some point. Now I'm going to be honest, I count myself as reasonably basically competent with a chainsaw, but in order to do all this work safely there was a lot of climbing, a massive amount of chipping, and lots of other stuff to do. So we got Oliver and Adam in, a team of local tree surgeons who are brilliant and scamper up and down trees like there's no tomorrow, which is something that is well beyond my level of competence. So thank you guys, you did an awesome job getting all of this cleaned out, and I think you can tell now, compared to what it was like before we did this work, there's so much more light and space in here. It's going to be so much better for the chickens over winter, and we've got room to put the structure that we want to put in there. Now Adam manned the chipper, and we've got, honestly, chipperist, which is a kind of wood chip Everest, and a lot of that chip is going to come back into this area. It's going to give us a whole new flooring. It's going to level up any unevenness, and we're going to build the new winter structure on this footprint. Look forward to that in future episodes.
This is Sky, and Sky is one of the hens that we're hoping to go broody, and this is primary broody hen season. So where are we actually at? Because I don't know if you can see, I'm actually surrounded by chicks in the area. I've got Jelly Bean behind me with her chicks. Taffy's youngsters, now she's already made them independent, she's back in the main coop, but her youngsters are less like chicks now, more like mini chickens because they're 8 weeks old. I've also got Uno wandering around too with her chicks, and we have got loads of them. Now Uno and Jelly Bean both hatched on the same day, and we do actually have a series following Uno through her incubation, through her hatch, and in the next in the series we will be, oh look at this. So that is Uno trying to get Sky away from these are actually chick micropellets, which are less messy than chick crumb but of a suitable size for the chicks to eat. But Sky wants these, Uno wants them for her chicks, but actually Uno is subordinate to Sky in hierarchy, so she's just keeping her distance just for a moment. But anyway, so where are we at? I'm rambling a little bit because there is so much to do with broody hens at this time of year, and it can actually get a little bit overwhelming for us. So where are we at? Now, I've mentioned that we have got Taffy's chicks, I've mentioned we've got Jelly Beans and Uno's chicks, but at the same time now we have got Orkney. She's started to brood and she's sitting on some eggs in her coop, and she'll be hatching in 2 weeks' time. We've now, in the last few days, Licorice, she's fallen broody too, so she's now installed in her own coop, and she's going to be getting eggs tomorrow to incubate. So 21 days from tomorrow, she's going to be hatching too. And then I'm hoping this young lady here, Sky, she's going to brood. And just walking away from me is Rhubarb, one of the cream leg bars. And I don't know if you remember this, but last year Rhubarb actually hatched chicks of her own as well. So we have got a lot of broody hens, and that means every single broody hen has their own coop, and every single coop needs cleaning out every single day. And we've also got these tiny chicks. In the first week of their lives, although the brood hen really does look after them, we just need to make sure that everything is going okay. Because, for example, at night when the brood hen goes into the coop to roost, she will call the chicks in behind her. Now, these chicks are so tiny, they don't always understand where the door to the coop is, so we need to be on hand just to make sure that those chicks can navigate to the door and follow their brood hen in. And obviously we've got to make sure that there's food and water available, that there's no issues with the flocks. As you can see, we've got the flock out here and they are fully integrated. And while there are gestures and postures, that's all part of the pecking order. But there is no violence in our flock, there is no lunging at each other, there is no attacking each other, there's no issues for our youngsters. And actually, if you want to see how that works, watch our video which will be launching next Tuesday on Uno's progress, where we'll actually be talking about the flock dynamics and how we get the youngsters integrated with the larger flock. But even though it is a lot of work at this time of year, just look, I mean, isn't it wonderful? We've got all these little chicks running around. They've got still my little Sky, who loves all of the attention, and I'm just so happy with these little fuzzbutts running around.
Right, madcap veg area scheme. Okay, we put these veg beds in about 10 years ago. They're 100 square foot each, they're 4 foot wide, and they go from south on that side to north on that side, and they work really, really well, because they don't shade each other out with the sun being over there. But I have messed a few things up. All right, so we got these grass paths in between, and they worked okay until I got greedy. Right, so we put more beds in on that side, we put a fruit cage in on that side, and Fiona now detests these grass paths because there really isn't enough room to get a mower in and out as you go around, and you keep having to kind of shuffle the mower around and lift it, and it's become a bit of a thing. So we also want to grow more veg. So we had this kind of madcap scheme of, let's block the whole thing and make it into one big veg bed. It will still be standard lengths. We can still use standard row covers to protect from birds and insects, etc. But we can also have more flexibility and more growing space. Something we've learnt, we put all these boards in, and these are kind of 1 inch thick deck board seconds from a local manufacturer, and they work great. But obviously here in the fens, the ground is wet. So eventually, after about 10 years, they are starting to rot out in places. So we thought, whatever we build with has got to be big. And we're kind of scratching our heads. And our great mates, Dave and Sue, live just over there. So if you could, in theory, turn your head to the left, you'd see their property. They had a guy around who was removing old, rotted out telegraph poles. Because again, fens, feet in the water, telegraph poles don't last forever. But of course, the bit above the ground is absolutely fine. So they had a chat with him, and they managed to get hold of some of these no longer used telegraph poles. And they said to me, do you want some? And it was actually Fiona who came up with the brilliant idea of, why don't we just box in the veg beds with telegraph poles? They're like 8 inches thick. They will last forever. So I had a chat with the guy. He was able to deliver some telegraph poles. All good. I had this brilliant idea that they come with these kind of foot peggy things. You've probably seen them up in the air. And I'm thinking, oh, we could just pick a telegraph pole up with that, Fiona and I, put them into position. No, right? I don't know if you've ever appreciated how heavy a telegraph pole is. I hadn't. They're like 20 centimetres, 8 inches thick, and about 25 foot long, about 8 meters long, right? 2 people ain't picking one of them up. Plus, they don't lie flat anyway because they got foot pegs and all sorts of stuff over them. So, what are we going to do? Well, first thing was to remove the all sorts of stuff. And if you've got any idea what to do with 2 massive buckets full of galvanised foot pegs, wire clamps, bolts, etc., please let me know in the comments, because I've got them all. I'm a small loader. I can't throw them away, but I've got no idea what to do with them. Anyway, there's me stripping off all these things, and oh, they're awkward because the bolts aren't standard. They've got square heads. They're not like hex bolts. So I'm struggling away with adjustable spanners when Dave, who's an engineer, comes over and goes, "Don't be an idiot, give me half a day." So he came back, he built a special socket to fit these bolts. Came with a 1/2-inch impact driver which just went whoop, and whipped those bolts straight out. How did it go? Whoop. Right, just like that. Then of course we've just got these massive great long telegraph poles, and what we found out in the end was if you cut them down to like 2 metres 6 foot lengths, they're like human portable. Fiona and I can lift them between us. Even I, we're using a sack truck, can move them on my own, which is really important because when we got all this boxed in, we want to be able to like swing one aside to get a rotavator in or a wheelbarrow in or what have you, make things manageable. So that's what we've done. We've chopped up a load of telegraph poles which were basically waste. They've created this massive, really strong, very rot-proof structure, and over time we'll remove these intervening boards and get a much bigger, more flexible vegetable space.
I'm down in the fruit and vegetable garden, and June is where I think it's one of the busiest months. Because why is that? Well, we are not only planting out, we are starting to harvest, we are also preserving some of that harvest, and finally there's general maintenance to undertake as well. So what are we planting out? Well, first of all, we are putting in a load of broccoli and cabbages which were kindly given to us by a brilliant friend of ours who's a commercial farmer in the area, and thanks very much, Nick, for the plants. It's only a tiny amount for him, but it makes a big difference for us, and we can just put those in, and they're now in this little protected net area behind me, and Hugh did that job, and thanks, love, you really helped me out there. We've also been planting out carrots, and they take really quickly, but I think you can see behind me there should be 4 rows of carrots here, and actually that's not what we've got. We've got one really thick row of carrots and then some thin rows, so we're going to have to resow, and we're not really sure why that is. We think actually it was a different packet or packets of carrots we used for the other rows, and they really didn't take. It might have been actually that we didn't check the dates before putting them in, and it happens. It's one of those things. We will just resow. We're early enough in the year that we can do that because we don't want giant carrots, we want baby carrots, so that we can pressure can them, so that we can carry on eating canned carrots all the way through winter. We're also planting out parsnips, which have started to take off now. So what about harvesting? Well, we've got garlic, and that garlic has done tremendously well. Hugh put it in autumn, and now we can start harvesting that. We're going to be doing that in the next couple of days. But the fruit is where it really takes off. Our raspberries have come in, and we have got golden raspberries, which will actually start going through all the way through, probably till the end of summer. They have a very long life. We don't get a tremendous amount at once, but they will keep going all the way through summer. And we've got a lot of varieties of raspberries, and they will actually take us through till the end of October, probably even November. That's what it did last year. Yes, it was a season that was that long. It was tremendous. But our strawberries have come in, and they are so tasty, and they've just started, so we're only getting a few, so we're not preserving any of those at the moment. But we are preserving other things. The chamomile is being harvested at the moment, and I think we said last month I absolutely love my chamomile tea. So we're starting to harvest those flowers, and honestly, believe me with this, there are a lot of them. So I'm only doing a little bit every day. I'm not trying to get every single flower because, to be honest, there's just too many of them. So I'm taking a few and I'm loading the dehydrator, dehydrating those flowers, and then I've got a great supply and stock of chamomile that I can have as tea over this winter. And then of course there's general maintenance jobs. Now, maintenance itself, we are just doing the minimum to get by. We published a video on homestead guilt, and this is a real phenomenon, and this is where in June we are gentle with ourselves, because homestead guilt can be a big thing. So looking at this bed here, we have got Crown Prince squash in this bed, and the squash plants are doing really well. Now they're spread out significantly because they will actually start to spread out and grow, and they will fill this bed completely. But I think you can see there's weeds in here too, and we're going to be weeding this bed today, but it's not the top of our priority list. What we're doing is we're being gentle with ourselves, so it doesn't look fabulous now, but we will be taking one vegetable bed a day and we will be weeding that bed, and that means we can just keep on top of things. But by the time we get round to weeding it again, they will look like this. It won't look fantastic, but we're being gentle with ourselves because otherwise it would be overwhelming. But when all said and done, this is still better than sitting in an office. I can't tell you how much we enjoy this lifestyle, but we can't have it looking perfect at this time of year either.
Well, that was a little flavour of June, just sort of, you know, little taster session. If you want to know more about any of these subjects, please let us know down in the comments below. We can do more in-depth videos, but sometimes it's nice just to have a quick tour of what's going on. We've got a load more to do. We've only just started in on the permanent winter enclosure. The new hedge is coming in really nicely, and we've got a lot to do on the veg beds. But you know, this is an ongoing project. We'll never be finished here. We're always trying to develop it and make it better. If you've enjoyed today's video, can you spare us 5 seconds? Give us a thumbs up down below. If there's a subject you want to know more about, just let us know in the comments. We'll try and either answer it or we'll make a video to answer it. And if you'd like to see those videos and everything else we do on self-sufficient living, just tap on subscribe and the bell next to it. It's a totally free service and you'll get to hear every time we upload a new video. For today, thanks for joining us and come back and see us soon. Take care.